Welcome back everyone to another ESO build video. Today is going to be the update to the Yogi build. This is the Bow Warden for the Deadlands DLC. Now originally when Summerset first came out, this was one of the first bow builds available where the bow could actually count as 2 pieces as a weapon, and it was utilizing a crit set which swapped bars and carried minor force with you. We are still going to stick to that, but there is a bit of a twist with this particular update where I've actually made the rotation really simple, so quite possibly some 5-year-olds might be able to do it. Basically, single target, straight up front, and consistent throughout. Very powerful, very easy to use, but of course we're going to explain how this all works. So, first of all, we're going to go into the stats. So, let's pop a potion, make sure everything's running. There isn't much to run, to be fair, it's all there. Now, 12.7k max magical, which is not that important because we're not really using any. 23.8k max health and 32.2, almost 32.3k max stamina. 1.4, almost 1.5k recovery, plus we've got a stat on top of that, which makes it really high, what you can't see in the stats. And of course, our crit chance is quite high as well. Potion just ran out. 58.5, that goes up dramatically. Way over 70k, very nice, but you can't see that until you actually get into combat. And we also have quite low resistances at the moment, but if you want to slot a resistance buff, you can. We'll come to that when we get to the skills. Now, we're putting 64 points into our max magicka, and of course, we're using the Thief Munda Stone. We are using flat stat food, but if you want to use recovery stuff, you can, but just bear in mind you're going to be a bit squishier. But we're using the flat stuff, so this here. Max health, max stamina. If you want to use Dubious Command Throne or Artaeum Takeaway Broth, that's absolutely fine. You'll get a recovery bonus, but you will suffer in flat stats a little bit. Now, again, while our resistance is quite low, we can plug that. Other people can give you resistances as well, so it's not the end of the world. We just don't technically carry it ourselves. But again, when we get to the skills in a moment, I'm going to show you where you can actually slot that if you really want to. Very straightforward stuff, very simple. This is not going to be difficult at all. It might take a little bit of time, but it's not going to be very difficult. Now, of course, we're going to get into the skills, and I'm going to explain where these all come from, which morphs to take, and all that good stuff. If you are confused by any of this, don't forget, there is a builds page on the website where you can actually read up on all class skills, morphs, and passives. So, first ability is Bullnetch. Fourth one down in the Animal Companion skill line. Starts off as Betty Netch, morph it to Bullnetch. Activate this for free, and for 25 seconds, you will remove 1 negative effect every 5 seconds. You will have constant major brutality and sorcery uptime, and you will also recover 4,992 stamina over that period of time. This doesn't show in your stats, it won't show in your recovery, but it does stack on top of the 1.5 we've almost already got. Very powerful, don't let this run out if you can help it. Next is Subterranean Assault. This is used inside the rotation. There's 2 different ways to use this. We can use it twice every rotation or once, depending on how advanced you are. But basically, this is going to hit quite hard twice. You cast it, takes 3 seconds to fire, then 3 seconds after it'll fire again. It does poison damage and area of effect, but it depends which way you're facing. So if you apply this and then turn around, it's going to fire the way you're facing. So make sure you're aiming at the target when you want it to go boom. But starts off as Scorch, morph it to Subterranean Assault. Very powerful. Keep that in your rotation all the time. This is a flex slot. If you are in AoE situations, then of course you can utilize this instead of your main spammable, because this will hit multiple targets. Starts off as Silver Bolts, morph it to Silver Shards. So instead of your ability here, which we're going to come to in a moment, you can just spam this. And that will hit multiple targets. Very hard as well. And of course it carries your fighter skills passive. But if you don't want to fit this, because you don't feel that you use it enough, or you're not in a situation where you even need it, then of course you can slot Camouflage Hunter instead. While this is on your bar, this will give you Major Savagery. Now, we are using weapon pots, which will give you Major Brutality and Major Savagery. So, if you've got this on your bar, you don't need that. If you've got this, you don't need that. So you could get away with tripods, which will help your survivability as well, because of course it's got health recovery and health back in a tripod. So you could get away with that. However, Minor Berserk on this only applies if you crit from flank. So if you're fighting a dragon, that's not going to apply. If you're not fighting a dragon and you can stay behind the target, this is actually going to be with you pretty much all the time. So, the next ability won't be useful for us. So if you are slotting Camo Hunter, you won't need Bird of Prey unless you're fighting a dragon. If you are fighting a dragon, then of course you can still take advantage of the savagery here. So Bird of Prey is in the Animal Companion skill line. Last one you get. Starts off as Falcon Swiftness, morph it to Bird of Prey. Keep it on your bar. it gives you minor berserk all the time if you are not benefiting from this. If you are benefiting from this all the time, then of course you can just swap this out for another animal companion skill of your choice, which isn't fitted on the bar at the moment, because obviously we're not using them, and you can just take advantage of your animal companion passives. Again, we'll come to that later. But regardless, this is a very flat bonus so far, without much effort at all. The only ability we're doing damage with at the moment is Subterranean Assault, unless of course you're using shards. Now we're going to go on to our damage skill, the main bread and butter of the whole build. Go into your bow skill line. First ability to unlock, very simple. Starts off as Snipe, morph it to Lethal Arrow. This will hit incredibly hard with poison damage. Yes, I know people like the other morph, but the other morph applies a minor breach, which you can already get from a tank if they're stabbing it with a taunt anyway. This is very, very powerful, hits really hard with poison damage, and it also guarantees a poison status effect on the hit initially. So you can have, as long as you keep up your snipes, we're going to call it snipe because that's the original morph. As long as you keep this up, you will have 100% uptime on a poison status effect, which is very, very nice. No, we're not a Dragon Knight. We're not going to get that stamina back all the time, but we are going to have a single target damage over time effect that hits incredibly hard. Don't miss this. Make sure it hits. Next is Wild Guardian. Quite obvious, this one. We've got a bear. Starts off as Feral Guardian, morph it to Wild Guardian. This will do physical damage rather than the other version, and of course, occasionally it will swipe the enemies in front of it and stun them. Now just bear in mind, of course, this does have an ultimate attached to it. It's not just an ultimate you keep with you, it's a very, very cheap recastable ultimate, basically. Every time you get to 75 ultimate, you want to hit this, and the bear will hit incredibly hard. And if the enemy is below 25% health, it will hit harder and harder and harder. This bear can hit in excess of 150 to 200k per hit at low health if you activate the ultimate, if you've got an abundance of buffs and bonuses applied at the time, depending on the target, because some are different. But it can hit really, really hard. You do not want to miss your ultimate ticks with this. It's very cheap. Activate it as soon as it's ready. Now, the back bar, we've got Circle of Protection, first of all, as a swap out, yes. This is our standing on the... We can put Ring of Preservation, actually. Standing on the spot heal. Put it down, heals you every tick, which is 0.5. Gives stam recovery to you and the group as well if they're standing inside of it. And gives minor protection, which is really, really handy. This is if you're standing still. If you're not standing still, then you want to use this. This is your other heal. So you want to use Echoing Vigor for you and your group, because it's got a big area of effect and heals every 2 seconds. Or you can use the selfish one, which is only 5-second duration and heals every 1 second instead of 2. Won't heal anybody else. I highly recommend this one because it's always helpful to give other people heals, especially in really difficult situations, but it's up to you. Just bear in mind, it's not a spammable. It's a heal over time. Don't spam it regardless of which morph you've got. Just let it run out and then reapply it again. Poison Injection. Bow skill line, last ability to unlock. Yes, it's a drag to unlock, but you're going to need this. Starts off as Poison Arrow, morph it to Poison Injection. Single target poison damage over time, lasts 10 seconds. The less health the enemy has, the more aggressive it gets. This is incredibly important for the build. We are using a weapon that will utilize it. Shulks is on the back again, Subterranean Assault twice. It's not here for anything other than passives. You never have to activate this skill. We'll get to passives in a moment. If the passives are not that important to you, you're barely on the back bar, you don't want that tiny, tiny, tiny bonus percentage increase to damage, then of course, like I said at the beginning, you do have an option. You can swap it to Expansive Frost Cloak to give your whole group in big radius a major resistance buff, or you can use Ice Fortress, which will also give you minor protection. Entirely up to you which one you choose, but of course, that is an option, and you can put that there if you want to. Bear in mind, passives do cover that as well, so it's quite helpful. We have got Bird of Prey on both bars, technically, because we want the minor Berserk on both bars. But if you do activate this, you'll get a sprint bonus, which is quite nice. But if you dodge roll with a bow, you get that anyway, so it's hit and miss. It's up to you. Again, if you really wanted to, you could put Camouflage Hunter here instead. But just bear in mind, you aren't going to have the magic skill for your speed boost. You are going to have to dodge. And also, bear in mind, this is if you crit from flank. This is with you all the time. Either way, it carries passives, so it's great to slot it there. It's a very handy utility skill, but you've got options. Next is Endless Hail, of course. So this is going to be quite simple. Starts off as volley, morph it to Ender's Hail, keep it on the ground, don't let it run out. It has a 14-second duration, but it's not how people think it is. Basically, the damage over time is going to last 12 seconds, but the whole skill takes 14 seconds to start and run out. So there is a 2-second wind up. It's not something that is a channel or a cast time. It's insta-cast, but there are 2 seconds at the beginning before any damage gets done. This must not run out. It carries your back bar glyph. It's very important. Keep this on the ground all the time. Keep this on the target all the time. Keep spamming this. We've got the bear on both bars, because if you don't, he'll die. Simple. So now it's time for passives. So animal companions are very important. This will heal you every time you activate a new animal companion skill or kill a previous one. So if you fire this and it goes boom, it's gone, then you heal off of it. If you fire this and it runs out, or you recast it, technically the last one ran out, so you'll heal again. Really handy. Make sure you pay attention to this. You will crit out of it as well. If you apply an animal companion skill or cast one, once every 8 seconds, you'll get 4 ultimate back, so your bear can be used very, very quickly. This increases your recovery for both stamina and magicka while you have an ability of this skill line slotted. We have it on both bars. And this increases damage done by 2% for each one of these slotted. Now, that means we've got 8% on our front bar because, yes, the bear counts. And we've got 6% on the back bar. That's why this is here on its own doing nothing but giving us a damage bonus. Granted, we're not on the back bar very long, so if you do want to swap this for a resistance buff, like I said a moment ago, you can do. It's not the end of the world, but you will lose that minor bonus while you're here, so don't hang around too long. Also, while this is here for minor berserk, but this might have uptime anyway if you're behind the enemy all the time, you can drop this for another ability, but you're going to lose the 2% damage done. This also, I mean, technically could be swapped out for an animal companion's ability, but it actually balanced out to have the 8% increase from here and the Fighter's Guild passive on top. They're very, very close, but one is weapon damage and spell damage, the other is damage done. So you scale one up and you benefit from it by increasing it overall. It's a bit tricky to wiggle that, but just bear with me, we're going to get to Fighter's Guild passives later. It's quite important to have Fighter's Guild on both bars if you can help it, but the Animal Companion's damage output is really, really nice as long as you've got them slotted. You don't want too much utility on here and not enough Animal Companions because your damage will suffer. So, Green Balance, we're not really using any of these. These three are completely ignored by us. This one, however, if you heal in any way, shape, or form, you will get minor toughness. And if you heal other people, so will they. 10% increase to max health. Very handy. That is why we have such low health at the moment, but if we actually heal ourselves, it goes right up. Winter's Embrace, of course. This is important in some areas. So if we are using Expansive Frost Cloak, then of course you can take advantage of this, which will give you a resistance buff on that bar. That's handy, but not game-changing. We only have one skill, sometimes. This, however, is. Yes, of course, if you use Winter's Embrace abilities, you have a higher chilled status chance to apply it, basically. But enemies that are chilled, not necessarily by you, if they're chilled full stop, you will do 10% more critical damage to them. Your crit damage is higher versus chilled targets. Get that passive. This is really helpful, actually. We are fast. We are at the back of the room. We are staying away from danger. But if we do get snared, we are less affected by them. And, of course, this increases your magic and frost damage. We're not using any magic damage. We're not using any frost damage. This is useless for us in this setup. So you don't have to get that passive. Overall, you really just need these three. You can get that if you've got spare points. Bow is simple. Get every single one of them. This will increase the damage you can do at range. So, close up, you have less damage. Further away, you have more damage with the bow. So, anything up to about 20 meters is kind of your stretch point. Anything after that, it won't enhance. But 20 meters is kind of where it starts kicking off its most. So, you get the most damage from 20 meters and above. Increase your crit chance on a bow. Reduce the cost of bow abilities. When you deal damage with a light attack or a heavy attack, you stack up a damage bonus. 5% per stack up to 25. And every time you do a light attack, this will start the 5-second timer again and add the increase. Up to 25%, you will get to there, but after then, you will just maintain it. Do not miss your light attacks. It's going to make a big difference to the build. Also, if you dodge roll, you run faster. Granted, we've already got that buff here, so if you do activate this with magicka, you can save yourself some stamina and you don't have to dodge roll, but just in case and you do dodge roll, you can, of course, run really fast afterwards. We are using all medium. Yes, technically you could go with a couple of light if you really wanted to, but we don't need to. We're going to keep our agility. We're going to keep our flat damage. We don't need the extra crit chance or penetration from the light armor stuff anyway, because we've got everything covered. So we're going full medium. This will increase your crit damage that you do by a massive amount. Also, it will increase your recovery and reduction to cost. Also, your sneak bonuses, which is quite nice. Increase your weapon and spell damage, and it will increase your movement speed and reduction to cost for dodge rolls. So we've got very high flat weapon and spell damage and very high crit damage. Really, really good stuff. We've got massive crit chance. Once you get that ball rolling and you get your proc sets running and you keep them up, you can go way over 70%. It's ridiculous. We are, of course, taking advantage of our Undaunted passives because you do want to take advantage of these in every situation. But, of course, I'm going to re-explain these again. If you take a synergy, you get 4% of all resources back. Don't be a donut, take your synergies. And, of course, each type of armor will increase your flat stats by 2%. We have one type of armor, we get a 2% bonus. If you had more, like one heavy, one light, yes, of course, you'd have 6% across the board, but you would lose minor passives that make all the difference. So this is deliberately 7 medium. If you want to change that, it's entirely up to you. Bear in mind your pen, your recovery, and your crit will be altered. So, Fighter's Guild. Why is this important? Because this will increase your weapon and spell damage for each ability on your bar. So if you do have this on the front or shards, and you do have circle protection on the back, both bars benefit from a 3% increase to weapon and spell damage. Each one of these skills is a 2% damage done. This is a 3% weapon and spell. So you boost your weapon and spell damage and take advantage of the extra damage on top. That's the point of balancing these out. But again, that is up to you. Also, while you have a Fighter's Guild ability slotted, which is why we need one, every kill you get will give you 3 ultimate back. And, of course, your Fighter's Guild abilities do more damage, but we're not using any for damage apart from Silver Shards. If you are using Silver Shards, the spam ball becomes very, very strong. Oh, you also want Intimidating Presence to get the cost down, just in case you activate them. We are a Wood Elf. Surprise! Why are we a Wood Elf? Well, because we fall out of trees and it doesn't hurt us. No, I'm joking. So, this will increase your movement speed by 5%, so we're quick. And you have a built-in increase to physical and spell penetration. So we don't need the light piece, we've got the extra bonus already. This increases your stamina recovery, which is why our stamina recovery is so high. And this will give you 2% increase to max stamina, and your disease and poison resistance is enhanced as well. So while we are out at the back, yes, we have kind of situations where we might be in trouble, but you've got resistance to most stuff that will be at the back of the room. Poison, disease, and all that good stuff. We're very, very quick. We've got our heals. We've got our bonuses. We've got everything we need. Pen, resistance, speed, recovery. You can use any race you like, but single target damage-wise, the Wood Elf did outperform the other races by a tiny amount. I'm not talking 1k, we're talking about 5. But once you get past 90k, 5k is nothing. Medicinal use. Make sure you get this. Your potions will last their full uptime, which means as soon as they are ready again, you can pop it straight away. Do not let your potions ever run out. They are not for emergencies. They are consumable buffs. Either way, whether you're using weapon pots or tripods, whichever one you choose, make sure that you are using them as much as you can. Now, going to get into the gear. Okay, so we're going to go up to the armory system over here. The armory station. We don't have loads and loads of setups to show you today. We're just going to show you the one because that is the main one that we're using, of course. But if you have multiple different setups or you want to swap skills and you don't have time to just keep finding out where all your skills are, you can just click a different build and you're done. But we are using this. So we'll equip the build, obviously. Save it. Perfect. We are using Zovgin Bow on the front bar only. Now, this has a crit bonus, a pen bonus, and you deal critical damage and stack crit and crit and crit and more crit. So, this will give you 1770 extra crit on top of what you already have at max stats once you do damage. And then what you do, you'll carry Minor Force with you, which will increase all of the crit damage you do by 10%. The difficult part here is to understand that it's got a 5-second timer. So, every time you do critical damage, this will start again and again and again and again, but it's only on the front bar. So if you do swap bars, the timer could run out. That is why in the rotation I have changed it to such an extent that it's now very, very easy to maintain this buff because you won't be on the back bar very long. Now, on the back bar, we are using the Master's Bow. You don't need Perfected. You can go into VDSA or normal DSA. It doesn't make a difference. The only difference to the actual bow itself is you get an extra 103 weapon damage and spell damage on the back bar. And since we're not on the back bar long enough, you might find you never see the difference. Depends on the player. If you do see a difference, it's going to be minimal. You aren't going to be writing home about it. It's going to be a tiny, tiny difference. So it's nice to have, but it's not essential. Go into normal, make it easy for yourself. This is very important. If you fire poison injection, the target that has poison injection on it will be hit by you harder. It will be as though you have an extra 330 weapon and spell damage. It's very, very powerful. Do not let poison injection run out. We are using poisons on the front bar, by the way. And we are using, I'm not going to pronounce this because it's really hard to say, this one here. This is from Unhallowed Grave. Every single time you do a light attack, you will stack up a bonus, up to 5. And after 5, it will go boom, a big fist will come out of the ground, punch the target, and do magic damage. Yes, of course, this can stun enemies as well, and if they are stunned, there's a bit of a cooldown on it, but this is incredibly powerful, and for some stupid reason, this crits really high. This can hit sometimes as hard as your average bear hits. So you do want to use this if you can. Stone Fist was also pretty good, and a lot of other options out there that you could use from range if you really wanted to, but this one was so powerful, I would highly recommend you get it. Very simple, just head and shoulders of this set. Unhallowed Grave is where you need to go. Reliquin, you do not need Perfected unless you really, 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 really want the 1096 extra stamina. Yeah, I know, it's tiny, it doesn't make a massive difference, if any at all. But this will give you crit again, minus Slayer increase in all damage you do in dungeons, trials, and arenas by 5%, and listen very carefully to this. Every light or heavy attack you apply will put a harmful wind on the target. If you do that again within 5 seconds of the last one, it will do it again, and again, and again, and again, up to 10. Once you get to 10, every single light or heavy attack will just keep that 10 stack consistent. Most people, and this is where people need to decide whether they're going to be honest with themselves or not. Most people cannot keep up this set in content. Most people can do it on the dummy, but when they're in content, especially when they're moving in and out of mechanics, forget that they've got to keep this up. The whole stack falls off, and then you have to start again. Basically, your 5p set is somewhat ineffective because it's not supposed to have a cooldown, but you're forcing it to have one anyway. However, because we're using 2 bows, we are always at range. We are always keeping up our light attacks because otherwise our Hawkeye passive doesn't stick. We're always keeping up our damage, otherwise our Zovkin will fall off. And even if we are moving in and out of mechanics, we are always in range to reach with our light attacks. So if you can keep up your Hawkeye passive, you can keep this up. Simple as that. Very, very easy to use with a bow setup. So, go and get this on normal. Normal Cloud Rest, pick this up. If you don't have it, don't panic. It's not the end of the world. You can use pretty much any stamina set you like as long as it's not a melee-based one because this doesn't do any melee damage apart from Shulks. But if you can get this on normal trials, go for it. Now, we're using stamina, enchant on everything divines, weapon damage and bloodthirsty on 2 of them, weapon damage and infused on the last one. You can go 3 bloodthirsty if you want, but your consistent DPS will actually drop and it will only peak at the end. This was actually much more beneficial, giving us an upfront burst to keep consistency up, and then the bloodthirsty at the end actually really, really leveled out and gave us a really good finish. So, that's quite straightforward. Basically, just keep up your light attacks and everything will do its work. Now, we're going to go into champion points. These are also very, very basic. Do not be too confused or overwhelmed by champion points. They're not as complicated as you might think. It looks scary at first. Don't panic. So, all these white or yellowy ones are passives. They are minor bonuses. They aren't going to make or break a player. But they do unlock some of these. So if you put 10 points into here, this will give you your first open slot to unlock these. And you're going to want both of these. Backstabber and Fighting Finesse. Just bear in mind, of course, if you're not behind the target, it's a dragon maybe, you can't use Backstabber, it won't work out. So you want to use something else instead. Use Thaumaturge, you are using damage over time, it will make a difference. But for most everyday use situations, Backstabber and Fighting Finesse, and also Deadly Aim and Master at Arms. These ones both for single target and direct abilities. In here, you are going to want these eventually, but if you unlock this for 10 points, that will unlock these. So 10 points in here to get these 2 slottables, level them up. 10 points in here to get these 2 slottables, level them up. That's your main focus, nothing else. All the rest of these are literally inevitable. There's no rush. Get them in your own time. You will eventually unlock them. Your slottables are more important. Once you unlock them, great. If you don't have them right now, it's not the end of the world. And also, you don't even need half champion points to get all this stuff. You can max this out very, very early on. The red tree. Same applies to all these little yellow ones. They are inevitable passives. They give you minor bonuses to your character. They're not going to make or break the game. But these ones are important. Boundless Vitality, increasing your health. Fortified, increasing your armor. And Rejuvenation, increasing your recovery. Then, of course, if you do get kills, you get stamina back. 1,500 per kill. So this is really, really powerful as well. And the easy way to unlock these is you need to go here. 10 points in there, or 15 actually. 10 points in there. 10 points in here. Or max it out if you want the extra health. And that will unlock this. These ones don't need unlocking because they're sitting there on their own. You can actually buy these straight away. Now, the green ones really don't matter. As you can see, I haven't even slotted any. These are all quality of life. Extra gold, less damage when you fall from trees and stuff. All these are not really combat-based. But you are going to want to get this, which will reduce the chance of using your charge on your weapon. So you won't use soul gems so often. That will go up to 50%, which is really nice. You might want to slot Treasure Hunter for extra quality of loot in treasure chests. This one here is actually very, very nice. You are nimble and quite fast on your feet. This one you can use between fights, so you can get from one fight to another really fast. And these two here, Liquid Efficiency and Rationer, increases the time of your food, has a chance of not using a potion or poison. All quality of life, 100% up to you, doesn't make or break the build, but the blue ones and the red ones are the important ones. Slottables first, passives in your own time. Now we're going to get into the rotation. This is beyond easy. So easy. Am I going to give you a really complex combo and tell you how to kill the target dummy in the most efficient way possible and never be able to apply it in content? No, I'm going to give you a very static rotation that you never, ever, 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 ever have to change. There's technically 2, depending on how anal you are about 1k DPS. But, basically, this is all you need to do. Make sure this is running. And if you need your circle of protection down, yes, of course, why not? Now, you start off with Shulks. It will take 3 seconds before it applies. So it's fine. You haven't done any damage yet. Then, you start off with Volley, Poison Injection, Swap Bars. Okay, so this is how it's going to look. Start with this. Volley, Light, Poison, Swap Bars. That was easy, wasn't it? Shulks is going to fire again. See if it fires twice. So, what do you do now? Well, you light attack, and you cast Snipe. And you light attack, and you cast Snipe again. And you do that 5 times. And when it's done, light attack, Shulks, swap bars. Light attack, Volley, light attack, Poison Injection, swap bars. What am I going to do now? You probably guessed it. We are going to light attack, and we're going to snipe. And we're going to light attack, and we're going to snipe again. 5 times. Shulks, swap. Volley, light, poison, swap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Light, Shulk, swap. Volley, Poison Injection, swap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Light, Shulk, swap. Volley, light, poison, swap. 1. You getting bored yet? 2. That's all you have to do. That's it. That's all you have to do. Now, what do you do with your bear? Well, every time the bear ultimate is ready, you replace 1 snipe with the bear cast. That's it. Nothing else. Every single rotation, you can keep this up as and when you need to. It's Shulks, swap. Volley, light, poison, swap. 5 snipes with light attacks between each one. Shulks, swap. Volley, poison, snipes 5 times. Shulks, swap, volley, poison, snipe 5 times. If you can get 6 in, get 6 out. But if you can't, then don't. It's entirely up to you. It's going to take a little while to get used to the rhythm because, of course, the bow ability, Snipe, does actually have a wind-up. Do it slow, then speed up afterwards. Get that perfect timing. So it will literally look like this. Come on, bear. And as you can see there, the damage output at the top there is currently on 95k DPS and fluctuating, because it will. 92, it's ridiculous. It will go up and down when you swap your bars, but it will go straight back up again. It's very, very consistent. All you need to do, though, I missed one there, is make sure that you do always apply a light attack between your skills. Now, at the end of this, when it's dying, obviously we've got Bloodthirsty, so it'll get stronger and stronger and stronger. Those 95 to 92 spikes, even though we're hovering around 80 at the moment, will actually go up to around sort of 95, 96 at the end. So you're looking at this. You're looking at about 95, 96k DPS. You can sometimes push to about 98, depending on how good you are with your lights, your heavies, and of course, your crits. Yes, sometimes you might want to fire in a heavy attack if you're low. Generally, you shouldn't have to, as long as you're taking synergies, but don't be scared to heavy just in case. Just cut out a snipe if you need to. Now, the other way to change the rotation is very, very simple. Instead of 5 snipes or 6 snipes with a shulk at the end, what you can do is every 3 snipes, cast shulks again. So on the front bar, it will be light snipe 3 times, then shulks, 1, 2, 3, shulks again and swap. Then you continue as normal. The reason you do that is because you can actually sneak in a 3rd proc per rotation, and it will increase your DPS by 1k. If you don't care about that, literally just spam snipe on the front bar. Shulks, swap, volley, poison, swap back. Bang, 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 bang. Shulks, swap, volley, poison, swap bars. Keep that up. If you stay on the back bar too long, you'll lose Zovkin. It will fall off. If you stay on the front bar too long, you'll lose your poison injection, because you need to reapply it. Simple. This will all be on the website, of course. You will be able to see the rotation there. All the fashion and everything will be there as well. All the gear will be on there. Everything will be explained or noted. And speaking of which, we are now going to get into the fashion side of things, because of course that's the most important part of the video. So, we are using the same as we did in the last video, but for those of you that didn't see it, we are of course using the Outlaw Heavy Helmet. We are using the Firewatch Curious, Night Hollow Arm Cops, so medium, Night Hollow Gauntlets, heavy there, Blackreach Vanguard Light Belt, Thieves Guild Heavy Pants, yes, they look like combats, those are the ones that I use on my main character as well, so now you know, Night Hollow Heavy Feet, and of course the bows, Night Hollow on the front bar because it looks wicked, and then of course to keep it more Warden-y, we're using the Frostcaster bow. Use what you like, but that's what we're using. And of course, color-wise, I mean, we just blacked it out, basically. We are using the Void Pitch for the center of the chest, but everything else is literally just Legate's black, or you can use Thermal black, or whatever you've got to hand at the time. Just black it out. It looks mega. So, hopefully that helped. Hopefully that wasn't too boring. Hopefully you now have a better understanding of how to approach this particular build, and are somewhat excited by its very, very easy damage output. It's so simple to use. Spam snipe, keep up 2 dots, carry on. If you are not subscribing, of course, please do hit that button. It is free. And of course, if you want to help support outside the channel, there are some links in the info section for Patreon, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, the website, XynodeGaming.com. Don't forget, if you're very, very new, you're not sure which class to use, or not sure about the classes in general, and it wasn't all in this video, then of course, the builds page on that website now shows you all the skills and passives so you can look them up in your own time. Once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.